Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Broadbelt Speaks.
Yes. Hello, hello.
Today we have with us, I'm just going to say S.O.U.L Society. I feel like
be
that is
known.
it.
Yeah.
T. Walker and Born King. But before we get into their journey and their story, we're going to let Broadbelt introduce.
Yes. As always, we're in Flux Studios. We have the engineer of the last 2 decades, Kurt, internationally known, is in the building.
Bum, 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 bum.
the maniac moron, as he likes to say. But yes, let's jump
Let's get
right
into
in.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start with T. Walker and S.O.U.L Society. Okay. So let's just get into what all of that means and what goes about with that.
S.O.U.L Society, support, opportunity, unity, leadership. So those are the 4 cornerstones of S.O.U.L Society. So it was built upon really wanting to do something in the community. Yeah. We seen a couple of transitions and things happening in the community that we hadn't seen going on while we was growing up. Violence, crime, different stuff like that. So all we knew was to take initiative, to be a solution to a problem. So solution.
Okay.
So, it was built on that. We were heavily influenced by like our family. Our grandfather was very heavy, in the community, very much a staple. Our uncle came back home, when he was from Maryland, was doing things in the community. Our grandmother fed people in the community. My grandmother up north, who is a pastor, retired pastor, but, was everybody's mother,
exactly.
So that was like in the blood. So S.O.U.L Society, came from that, wanting to be a solution to a problem that we saw. And we just used the gifts that we already had, like whereas people might feel like they have to wait until they find their level of greatness. Yeah. Like, nah, there's already greatness within you. So what do you have? So him as a mastermind and as a brain and coming up with different ideas, and me as a brain, but also as a creative and an artist. We just jumped right in, not knowing fully what we was getting into.
Yeah,
but
I was going to ask you about that. Just stepping into it, like you said, the idea, the concept, and knowing you want to do something in the community, those steps to get you there. Like how does that
my steps ain't gonna be the same as everybody else. So my self-help book gonna look way different.
Yeah.
My greatest thing is just tell people get started. Yeah. Because all you're going to do is either you're going to work yourself into meeting the right people or the right resources.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to figure it out along the way. You're going to have to pick up a book, or you're going to have to Google, or you're going to have to go to YouTube. If you are truly looking for the solution and want to really do something. Yeah. We had no clue, like even how to start a nonprofit or business. Like we were really learning these things as we went. But if you really want to do it, you'll figure it out. Yeah. We started that in 2015. It's 2022.
Look at that. Yeah.
So 7 years later, we active off of tragedy, off of being inspired to do things, off of the influence, of our grandparents. And we just been flowing from there.
Yeah.
But why this community? Because I feel like y'all are not initially from.
We started it back home. So we were Jones County and Onslow County is where, our family, is based, where we went to high school and experienced things. But he went to A&T, I went to Winston-Salem State. So during our college years, we were here. This is a community that we became a part of.
Okay.
But then in 2017, we did our first We Are the Gold event with David Banner.
I remember.
So while we're doing things in our hometown, it's not a place that has a lot of resource for the things that we wanted to do. But when we did something here and were able to pull together 400 plus people for this event, musicians, artists, vendors, business owners, people that were doing things that we had no clue, like how to even get to that point. It was like, all right, cool. This is where we need to be. And fast forward after that event, a couple things, led us to being here in Greensboro. So we came here in 2017 and we've been building with people ever since, friends that we knew in college, musicians that we knew in college or that we met along the way, and just developed another community, a tribe here, but also became a part of this community because we here, we see what's going on, and then we start connecting with the people that want to be solutionaries in this space as well. So it's like, that's what we about. So we active with you.
Yeah. With that, just thinking about, because I love the fact as far as there's no blueprint to any of it. So you just actively jumping out there. But along with that journey, like you said, from 2015 to 2022, we're looking at 7-year span. Any second guessing, like, is this too much time? Should I keep with this? Should we go into a different direction?
Oh my God.
Because like it ain't no money in revolutionary work, really. Honestly, I was looking at, I can't even think of who it was, but I was listening to the other day, but they were like, Dr. King essentially wasn't like a businessman, right? You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was making millions of dollars. If he was in here today, he would have probably been able to connect with sponsors and all this to like help the movement going, but it was truly grassroots. So in this, it was like, that's definitely a struggle because you got to live. You know what I'm saying? We young men that love women, at the same time. So it's like, we want to date, but like, can you date if like all your money is going here? You know what I mean? Fortunately, if you're doing the right thing, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, but it was certain sacrifices that you have to make within that, whether it's how you want to live, how you want to operate, the type of things that you want to invest in outside of doing the work, so it was definitely, some second guessing, not so much as to like wanting to quit, just like how we really going to make this happen, because it take money to really make these movements happen. Or if you want to bring 400 people in a space to be able to have a conversation or enjoy an event, you got to book David Banner. You got to book KRS-One. You got to book Professor Griff. You got to book Sonny Patterson. And they cost, rightfully so, because I got a fee. So, but that developed over time as well.
Because that's that business side of it. Even though, like you said, you doing stuff in the community to give to the community. And they're the ones, which is a beautiful thing, because they're the ones being impacted the most. So they're getting the benefit out of it. But the work you're doing, as well as King, with all that work behind the scenes, that's the stuff that doesn't get seen. And that's the thing always when we talk about the journey. I know we kind of talked about it prior to the show, but I always want the listeners to have an understanding of that path, that you took to get there. And that is not just, I have an idea and it just happened. It just manifested itself. I didn't have to do no work. So then you talk about with the money and the understanding of the business side. And if you bringing in a name who has a brand and all of those things, there's a dollar amount that goes to that. And they, even though they want to assist and help, there's the business side, which, I always say, we talk about you got to separate business from your personal feelings because they don't mix.
There's a dollar amount that come with everything. If you want to do a book bag drive, book bags ain't free. The stuff that you want to put in the book bags ain't free. You know what I mean? The building that you might want to do the space in,
it ain't free.
Or the person that's donating it gonna want that receipt written up so they can get the tax write-off. Nothing's free.
Now, before you got into the business aspect, and for me, I know I was just giving, and then I felt depleted. Did y'all go through that stage when you felt
I was just about
depleted?
to say, because when we first started, I mean, it was off the sheer love and passion.
Right.
So
you're giving it all.
You're giving it all. Like, matter of fact, coming into developing this idea and this commitment to the people, it was like... I mean, not to get into all the details, but I went from computer technology in school and I was transitioning to African-American studies. And one of my, it was like the dean of the School of Technology. He signed my paper to transition and he to African-American studies, like, ain't no money in that.
That's
everybody else, I'm telling what I'm doing. Like, how you gonna make money out of that? I'm like, I don't know. But I was at a point in my life where I was beyond giving myself to trying to fit in these boxes and please other people and things of that nature, or to fulfill this typical American dream. When I'm foreseeing the path I'm walking is not what I'm trying to do, and I'm miserable now. So why would I continue this misery? I had like 3 computer classes my first semester and I'm like, nah, there ain't no way I'm about to do this. But so when we started to transition into the nonprofit S.O.U.L Society, we had one mentor of ours, Life. He would be like, I love what y'all doing and how y'all doing it, but you can't put love in the gas tank. And I mean, we was like, we take that in consideration, but we still saying yes too much. Like, we all over North Carolina at everybody's school, at all these events for free for the most part. Like, somebody every now and then might offer some gas or some food or something, but
they
for the
loving
most
you
part,
all. They like, they just gonna come in and do all the work.
And I mean, and we were proud, we were happy to do it. But after a while, we were getting burned out, and it was like, dang, we doing a lot, we making a lot of impact, we doing these events, people appreciating and moved by. They making connections. But we the ones at the end of the night where they don't know what we go through, what we got to do. They smiling. They don't know we just lost $100, $200 on this event
or more.
You feel me? So yeah, then it just got to a point where we had to work smarter, not harder. We had to be more efficient. We had to realize like we can't save the world. And if we not focusing on self first, then everything else is not going to pan out. You know, so we started to shift our gears
have
and
no water to pour.
Become more business focused. Like we would love to come way out there to Charlotte or wherever, but what's the budget? Right. You know, respectfully.
Y'all start saying, what's the budget?
If you ain't got the budget, then you know, it's cool. I mean, we'll, check back when you got a budget.
There you go.
If otherwise, if y'all want to come, we got a few events and different things that we doing. But we just had to figure out how to concentrate our energy into a common area without spreading ourselves thin and being all over the place.
That's so I think especially in the community, I don't think everyone is fully aware just what you talked about, all the logistics and the business side that goes into it. Because even charities, they have people who are salaried, because of the work. And if you're truly going to commit your time, that's everything, to be the impact that you really want to give to the community is going to take up your time. So like you said, switching your studies and, then determine, okay, out of your day, I know, so, you got jobs, you got this going on, but you still like, oh, we got this event, and you run it, like you said, you spread thin, but no one knows that because, which is beautiful when you think about the fact that all they're receiving is what you're giving them, which is the beauty of it. So that helps them as far as whatever you were pushing, that helps them move forward. But then you still got to be like, okay, I got to recoup this within me. So,
I mean, we got to be able to live, period. When you're talking about like people having a certain price, like it's definitely a business aspect, but it's a personal aspect of like, this is my well-being. I got to make sure me and my family good. Like, you can't count my pockets and think that, I got all this money. You don't know what my bills are, what my lifestyle is, who I'm taking care of. Like,
and I'm sure they do that.
And then the other part is like, what I've heard, like some people break down is like, this day that I spend with you, I could have got $10,000, $20,000 somewhere else. You feel me? Yeah. So you just got to understand that bigger than that booking, my time, period. Like a day of my time, you want me to travel and give a day to you? I need at least 10, or whatever that price is,
but that's the thing. There's a cost to it, and that's the part that's always that's unaware to the public, to the community. The fact that you're not just out here traveling off of the idea itself. Like, no, there's things you got to do. There's people you got to pay to set up things and to get things right so you can provide for the community.
For sure.
So that's good to hear that, you all, and I think everyone stars out. We talk about it. We've had other entrepreneurs and stuff on the show, and I think that's the initial path everyone takes is you just giving and you giving, and then you realize the business.
I don't mean to interject, but I do. Because especially when you are first generation going into business. Well, for me, I was first generation, so nobody could tell me. It was no resources around me to say, no, don't do this, don't do this. So I had to swallow the trouble pill or like the broke pill because no one was there to say, no, you can actually, you get a startup loan, let's get your credit score correct or let's do a nonprofit. So I think now when you guys, the next generation after you guys, they can learn from you because you can educate them on what to do, what not to do. So that's the beauty in, I think, our community where we are now, is that we're getting so many different skills of being an entrepreneur. And it's so important to have a foundation when you start being an entrepreneur. I didn't have a foundation. I don't think y'all had I don't know. You might have had a foundation, but I was just like giving.
We had influence and inspiration. We saw the things our grandfather did. We saw, some of the things our uncle did. But it wasn't the type of foundation where it was like, this is the game.
Right.
You know, that was different. We were inspired by like, all right, we saw his impact.
Yeah.
We don't fully know his struggles, you know what I mean, that he dealt with. We know some of it. We knew that while he had the plan for a community center in the community, that 98% of the people in the community was like, that can't happen. Yeah. Then he had to raise half the money. And then he had to sleep outside of the community center so that people wouldn't steal the copper plumbing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but like, I'm sure there was 10 times more struggle, you know what I mean, that came with it.
Yeah.
You know, because that was just a struggle off of one project. He was doing work in the community for years. You know, so I'm sure that was tenfold, you know. But
I'm sure.
We see, you know, some of the benefits.
So let's rewind because I want to get into you guys growing up together. You did grow up together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was that like? Did you always know you was gonna go in business together? Did you feel?
Like, nah.
I mean, because it was just like, we just enjoyed each other's company. So, I mean, the reality is we came up in this era, in this generation where single mother households was like the norm.
Yeah.
So my grandmother, they had they had 4 kids. Three of them were women, all had single parent households, you know, all males. And our grandfather, our grandma as well, but our grandfather, he was like the father figure, you know, so all of our dads was in other states and all that. So, you know, them random visits and phone calls is one thing, but that regular presence that was coming from our grandfather. Like he would make sure on the weekends he would have us all together. So we kind of grew up like a band of brothers. Yeah. Our grandma as well. Like they both, like they weren't together in our lifetime, but they all made it their duty to bring the family together, you know. So we grew up under that energy. So we just were brothers, you know. But as far as like business and things of that nature, we both veered off. Like, so he like almost 3 years older than me, you know. So he was, you know, older, and we were both on our own paths trying to figure out what it is that we to do in this world. And, you know, long story short, we both ended up back home after, like, he went to Winston, I went to A&T, and fast forward, we ended up both back in our hometown together. And I kind of had like we both had some certain ideas we wanted to do. And it was just like the perfect time that we came back together with our experiences that we both had. Nice. And now we coming to merge what we've both went out into this world and experience and learn. And then we begin to just start to like bounce ideas back and forth and not knowing where they were going to go, what we were going to do. And long story short, one of our close homeboys we grew up with, he was my age. He got murdered at 25. And we just, at that point, we just realized, look, we got to do whatever we can do now. Because before that, we had the ideas to an extent, but it was like, all right, we need to learn a little more. We need to connect with more people. We found every reason to not start. To delay. But after our boy passed off, it was like, no, we only guarantee today. So we got to give it all today. That. Yeah. You know, so immediately on the night of his funeral, like I was down and out and I was just looking for some inspiration that night. And I ended up, you know, coming across this PNB Rock song, My City Needs Something. And that like lifted my spirit. And I immediately like, we about to have a peace festival. My brothers keep a peace festival. So that was the first event we had. We immediately got back together that week and started to like, we gonna establish this corporation. We started to submit our paperwork and make everything official.
So y'all was moving, after that, you was moving quick. You was
we was like, we starting now.
It did seem like it was a come up real quick with you guys. I ain't gonna lie. You know, being on the sideline, looking into the community. The sideline
look quick.
Because everything look like it's in fast forward when you look from now. But when you're going through it, shit
doesn't
feel
look
like
And
then when you met us, we kind of had the ball rolling. So So if that was like 2017, we had like almost 2 years.
That was fresh
like,
off of David Banner, so that provided a different perspective for people.
You had that.
See, I didn't even know about the David Banner. I just knew you was a musician.
That's how we met Copper Vibration.
Okay, through that
Which
event.
initially they allowed me to use the spot for the album listening party.
Right.
So and it was a group of people in there, so everything looked huge. You feel me? But it was like, nah, we still. The ball is rolling,
figuring it out
while we picking up along the way, you know. But not to cut you out, I just.
Well, I was basically just saying. So we got to work a lot of kinks out in our hometown before we came to Greensboro. Then when we got here, we kind of, I mean, not that we were done learning, we still learning and growing. But when the Greensboro families started to meet us, we kind of worked out some of that. You know, small bumps in the road, you know.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah. Because I feel like 2019, that year is when I started hearing S.O.U.L Society, they're a nonprofit now. S.O.U.L Society is going for this grant. So Society, so that's what happens because I'm, the grandfathered in the community. So y'all was like the new generation coming. And so the buzz was So, and y'all wouldn't know this because you're not,
Right.
Yeah. But for me, I'm going to these spaces and I'm hearing about S.O.U.L Society. I was like, yeah.
And we got 0 of those grants. So
are you serious?
So we've been doing everything. We got
y'all got
one.
what? I was curious. I swear.
In 2020. But like,
go ahead.
Everything really was off the muscle. You know what I mean? So when I said like we were sacrificing, we was sacrificing. Like people don't know how we
gotta
was living.
change that. But definitely, y'all should have got a grant because of what y'all do in the community.
When you look in retrospect, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, it was certain things we was learning about how to word these grants.
Exactly.
Because even though I'm a wordsmith, it was like it's still ways that you got to write this and word it, and certain keywords you got to use. I ain't know nothing about that. I'm just like, I'm nice with writing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't someone like a grant writer that was on the team that was assisting
we still
you
don't got a
guys.
grant writer.
So
if you're
listening, brought that up. Yeah.
Yes, they need a grant writer.
Those
People,
grants
I have to put y'all
are
somebody.
Probably the thing that is the biggest challenge for everyone stepping in, because just as you said, it's the verbiage you use. So you might be asking for an AC unit, but you can't say AC unit. You got to say some other bullshit that describes it, and that's how you get it. It's just funny because I know like the fire departments and the police department, they have to do that. They have to write their grants, but they have a grant writer, and they do all of that too, where it's all in the verbiage of it. So and I think that's what people need to know is. They see you, and this is why we always like to talk about the journey. They see you and King and everyone else in S.O.U.L Society, and they're just assuming things are just like this. They don't realize.
I would have thought y'all got a couple
all
of grants.
the work that's going on.
I'm so disappointed right now.
We was out of we was out of pocket and sometimes out of money.
Damn.
For sure. Like we done made some.
Do y'all have a business plan?
We've had a few different business plans, some in the works, some unfinished.
Okay.
Because while we'll be in the middle of it, it'll be like, all right, well, we got this thing going on. So like we jump right into that thing, and then that thing stays unedited. And then it'll be 2 years later.
Before you get back.
But that would help. That's what helped Paper to Film get a lot of grants is the business plan. And I was doing Paper to Film since 2013. Didn't have a business plan, wondering why I wasn't getting funded. But as soon as he actually sent me the business plan template.
Because I realized, so that's something I do too, is like consulting. She was doing all of this work in the community, but it's always it's what you always see all the time is the idea, the concept. That's just the first part. The business side, that's where a lot of people are still, they're in that learning process and understanding the infrastructure within the business and everything you need so you can get those grants, so you can get that EIN number, that TIN, all those things so you can create that business account. So now you're not using your money anymore. You're using everything out of that business account and it's all write-offs. So you don't even have to worry about paying that back. You get it back at the end of the year when you're writing it all off. It's just keeping up with all those receipts, which could be, a lot too.
That's hard for me.
But I remember I was looking at
digital now, so
it's much better.
See, that's what I said when you talked about doing all of your stuff out here with all your different businesses and stuff. That's how she was, and I looked and I was like, okay, we need to get you a business plan. You need to outline. And then I told her too, I said, you spread too thin. You're trying to do too many things at once. You're not putting enough of your energy into a few things that can really get moving.
Yeah.
sure.
And then you can start trickling that the money you start to make that can trickle down into those other adventures that you want to
Right.
jump into.
Yeah,
sure,
and
for
that's
sure.
why I want to get into this because when I seen that y'all had this legit product, I was just like, okay, this is gonna be the bread and butter. This is the face. This is like because everyone is getting into drinking alkaline water. I feel like
call out the name too.
Yeah, live alkaline water.
Yes,
Best hydration in the nation.
tell them.
For the elevation of your situation, black on water from black on land, you might as well get it from the black man.
Hey.
Old one man.
Okay.
We got
Old
one
man.
on the team, too.
Yeah. So let's get into that and how this came about for you guys.
Well, this is definitely like a blessing of the pandemic, you know.
Okay.
Like everybody got their own different so I be trying to reel myself in because when I be too glorifying my pandemic experience, like
I do too. Pandemic
some
was
real
really
stuff
good for
going
me.
on. You feel me? But
really good for me.
like, nah, it really like it gave us more clarity of the vision and where we going, what we doing, and ultimately.
And so real quick, not to cut you off, but I like that. So for everyone else too, you didn't let the pandemic stop you. You allowed that to learn what you need to learn so you can continue to push forward. I'm just going. Because a lot of people allowed it. They just paused.
Accepted the turmoil and the darkness.
Before he continued, there was a brief moment of pause because it was like, because the ball was really picking up at that time. It was like, all right, we getting into these schools. We talking to a lady who's going to provide some funding for some of the things that we doing in these schools. Yeah. I'm on a tour where most of those shows were sold out. Wow. So it's like the money that I'm looking for in the music is coming. And then boom. Yeah. You know, before I fly to Portland, it's like, nah, this flight ain't happening. The pandemic. The NBA got canceled the night before, so we knew it was real. You know, and then that was that pause. And then we press play.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, like he was saying, you know, we had all this lined up. Look, we had all this lined up. We had, we were in the school. We had a weekly male mentorship program at Dudley High School. That was like our first official, like, recurring, like, actual mentorship, you know? So, I mean, we had all these things that were lining up. Soon as that happened, like May 14th or something like that, 2020, March. Yeah. Everything, whole calendar got wiped out in like 48 hours. And we still thinking like, all right, it's a quick pause, maybe a couple, everybody thought maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, we'd be right back. As that time kept ticking and this stuff, I'm like, yo, we like, mind you, a lot of the money we was also making, like he said, was events and things of that nature. We vending, selling products and whatnot. And everything we was doing was really physical. So, you know, I went through some different dark periods and down periods where I ain't know what was next or where, you know, how I was gonna make it out of this predicament, this obstacle. Excuse me. But I say that to say, like, I put myself in a mental space where I'm like, I don't embrace problems, you know, I'm solution minded. So I might have a moment, but I'm always gonna think about the positive. Everything happened for a reason. It's a reason, you know. And, you know, I held that up for a little bit. Then after a while, it was like, I still don't know where my next money coming from, you know?
Yeah.
I think, so we got one of the stimulus checks. You know, I was able to get that, pay up a couple bills, and then I put like the other half on some stocks. I ain't even...
The PPP?
Nah.
We didn't have everything in place for the PPP yet.
And we weren't established as an LLC. We got our LLC in 2019.
Yeah, I hadn't really. So the heavy energy is the LLC, S.O.U.L Society, the nonprofit.
Right.
We didn't establish that until like
2020.
That was the tour. You know what I mean? So I built that company off of the tour. Like, okay, I need to turn this into a real company because like money coming here. I'm selling the merchandise. I had built my own website because I ain't have money. Yeah. So, you know, to pay somebody, which is something I did when everything was on pause. I'm like, well, shit, all right, everybody about to go digital. Y'all need websites. I just start building people's websites because, like, the bills wasn't stopping. You know, so I'm like, all right, boom. You know, so we trying to figure this thing out and be like, we were Black Belt Soap Company. We had her Shea Butters.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, all right.
Look, matter of fact, I just bought a shipment. I bought a whole pack of shea butter like a day or two before everything shut down. Mind you, I'm only selling at events.
Right.
So once the pandemic really come down on us,
shea butter.
nobody really needed no shea butter at the peak of the pandemic. Like, we'll get back. I'm gonna be ashy if anything right now. I gotta see
at home.
Gotta see what's going on outside.
Toilet tissue.
Right.
Toilet tissue, I know.
So
yeah, and water.
Yeah, so
water.
Yeah. Then we selling clothes. Nobody don't want no clothes right now. Like, we trying to figure out what life looking like, you know?
Right. Maybe they'll want this shirt with an affirmation on it. If the sun don't shine, I will. I ain't sell enough.
Yeah. So like a week of them, that first week or two, I'm still going ahead. I'm posting my shea butter.
Yeah.
No clicks, no hits. Nobody's buying it. You feel me? But all right, so the time went by, put a little money on the stocks and whatnot. And then it was one day I was like, I think I had like $3 in my pocket, like $4 in my bank account, not knowing where the next money coming from. And I'm ready to like cash out all the stocks I had bought. And I'm like, I think I had bought some food or whatever. I knew I had a roof over my head. So I'm like, all right, I take my breath and I get back to not worrying. The next day, my stocks went dumb. Like, I had bought some options. And for those who don't know what options are, you can bet on the stock rising or falling. Man, I racked up in the next day, the next 48 hours. Matter of fact, that day when I was ready to cash out, I woke up, my portfolio was up like 800%. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
you did it right in time. Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And then I didn't like fold. You feel me? I sat down on that. Like, I'm good. I ain't got nothing to worry about. Then that happened. I did what I did with that money, paid some more bills, bought me some more time, still not knowing what I'm really about to be doing in the middle of this pandemic. And this is during this time where all the essentials being brought off the shelves. And I'm really looking around like, dang, you could have $1 million and you might not be able to buy any water. Mind you, I didn't know water was an option as far as selling it and connecting with our own source at the time. But I took that thought to be like, well, what we need to do is, because we had been talking about these things, but in my mind, the pandemic was like a super emergency warning, like,
you're gonna need
quit dragging your feet.
Go do it.
We talked about growing our own food, becoming more self-sufficient, connecting with farmers. And it was like, this might be your last big chance. So I started to reach out, ask people. I'm posting on Facebook, who knows farmers, who growing their own food. And we were eventually connected with this farmer, you know.
What's his name?
Robert McCray, chief, you know. So they were telling me like, yeah, it's a farm. He got his own, it's a self-sufficient community. They growing their own food and they got their own water source. I'm like, bet, let me check that out. So I eventually get the invitation, go to the land. And off the top, when I tried the water, it was like,
Are y'all used to well water?
Nah. I mean, we've heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So we had well water. And when I first tasted it, I was just like,
life.
Well water, because it's all the minerals in it and stuff like that. So it's great.
You know, and I like the fact that you all do promote that instead of, you know, the purified.
The purified water
removes all of that. And
for sure.
Inserts all type of shit.
Just liquid.
With no substance.
Right.
But so ultimately, I tried the water. I realized that this is my next business venture right here. But I didn't know what that looked like. I realized it cost a little more. So I'm like, all right, let me take some time to understand the value so I can articulate that to the people. So I took a couple months doing my studying and whatnot. And what happened? It just got to a point where I'm looking around, me and him, we going back and forth. We really in the process of establishing that LLC. And we were going to establish our own water company under that. And then I'm like, bro, I don't think I can wait. You know, he getting a little something flowing with the websites, but I'm still like, you know, I got to pass, you know, some criminal activity, you know, it wasn't but so bad, but I'm like, yo, I'm about to have to make some phone calls like, yo, what it look like outside. But, you know, Lord willing, I took some more breaths and I'm like, all right, I think I'm about to jump off with this water with the company as it is. Let's join forces. It's ready to go. I ain't got time to wait for all that branding, creating none of that. So I took some of my last money, put it in the gas tank to go to the land, about 45 minutes outside of Greensboro. And them first 2 days, it was 2 days out that week where I was just giving my service, you know. It was like 2,000-3,000 gallon orders that they had. So I'm helping them bottle up and pack up this box truck. And mind you, I ain't asked what I'm getting, how much, woo. I just gave myself to them a couple days. And after that second day, they gave me 20 gallons. And I'm thinking I got something. So I'm on the way home, like, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get these 20 gallons off. And it was 2 news articles. One was about it being the first black-owned water company to get into a Walmart. And then there was another article about it being an essential source during the pandemic. So I took them couple clips, posted them on my Facebook. The rest was history. Them 20 gallons was sold in like an hour.
Shit.
By the time I got back,
You got me.
probably, yeah. You was early. You and your sister was early customers for sure.
Get some of that.
Look, so by the time I get back to the land, I'm like, however much I can fit in this car,
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah.
We got 80 gallons in there. They were gone in like 3 days. Got 80 more, same thing. After that, I'm like, yo, we really got something. I'm calling my mom back from our hometown, like, I think I'm on to something. And I'm telling her the breakdown and the price. She's like, what? They're not buying that down here. They're not paying that. I'm like, Ma, I already got like 30 people. They sent their money, and I told them I ain't coming till next week. So at that point, it was like, you feel me?
Mama.
You feel me? Like, I'm like, nah, it's official. Like, I'm a water salesman, straight up.
Let it be known.
And
I'm a water salesman.
look, at that point, the rest was history. We came at a perfect time. This during the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter protesting and all that going on. Of course, we in a health pandemic. So I feel like all that was divinely aligned for us to have a black-owned essential health product, you know. So at that point, we just been running with it.
And just listening to the whole story, the fact that both you and T. Walker, how you all didn't veer off from that path, as far as always, and we talk about it like that internal voice that's kind of leading you and saying, this is what you should be doing, even though you have, I'm sure, you got people saying, man, you might need to do something else.
Yeah, get a job.
Yeah, and you like, nah, I'm sticking to it. And then it pays off because you put in that energy and that work, and that energy is leading you to others. You're attracting that. So as well. So now you building that, and now you creating your own community within that workforce. And now look at where it's at. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And again, we can't say it enough to promote the live water. So
come on, black on water from black on land, get it from the black man. You know,
say it.
Natural alkaline spring water. While I'm here, you know, we take pride in the fact that it's not coming from any chemical or mechanical induced process. A lot of the mainstream alkaline waters, they are literally tap water that they run through an artificial process. They add chemicals, they add things, you know. We like, this is God's very own. Got 108 natural trace minerals. Call it live because it's living. Life in the bottle.
If you ever go to, I went to a water plant one time and did a tour. It's the nastiest shit you ever see.
Yeah,
what they do to the water
and shit.
And it's not, it's nothing natural about it. All the chemicals they putting in that, and then you're taking that end solution that they putting out, and then you're drinking that. And there's no wonder when you look at some of the deficiencies that we have as far as health and things of that nature. Especially
because water is the key.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, we went 70% water. You know, that's part of who we are. So that water intake is needed. And the fact that you pushing the end of, like you said, the alkaline water is pure. It has all the minerals. And it's so funny. We just talked about this the other day about how some people would take their water, and I think you actually did it, and they will they will sit it down and let it alkaline on its own to where the bubbles and stuff start to pop up. So you know now the minerals are generated because that water you buying out the store, it has so much that they putting into it.
Right. So you could sit it out under the sun because it's a source.
Yeah, let it charge.
And let it charge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then we push, like, it's definitely levels, you know.
Okay.
I mean, if you can get that God's very own straight from the source, you know, get that. There are other, you know, measures you can take, you know, but
you went out. I love the fact that you stepped out there and you was like, I don't even know what I was going to get. I'm just giving my time. I'm giving my ability to help and assist, and then how he paid off.
Yeah, I was just
you
trying
ever
to
read the book
value.
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I love the book.
So, I mean, there's a concept in there, you know what I mean, where, you know, he had the kids working for free,
Right.
you know, and what I was taking from that was they were developing experience.
Exactly.
They were
so it
using
wasn't
their
for
time.
free.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
Right.
bigger than the money.
nothing's free.
Yes.
No.
So it was like within that time, somebody saw value in that time and was like, well, at least here's this. And he took that and turned it into something.
Right.
You feel me? Which everybody won't. They'll take the 20 gallons and it'll be drunk in their household.
Yeah.
You know, or won't even think of how to turn it into a business. Or prior to that would have been like, damn, I don't know where the money coming from. Let me sit here
Yeah.
and figure it out and hope God just drop it through the roof.
And that's
Well, let me go back to the dark side.
Yeah.
Yo, what it look like in the streets today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of did. Well, I didn't go to the dark side, but I did start. I was a hemp grower.
Okay, I didn't know what you was about to say.
Yeah, like,
You start blinking your eyes on like they got OnlyFans and everything out here now. So I don't know where we going.
See, looking at King like hemp. But the one thing I
wanted help. Yeah.
it was only dark side to me because it was, you know, the law. But
Yeah.
God's law.
In some states.
Yeah.
Again, because nothing is truly illegal. It's illegal because they not making money off of it. Once they start making money,
But
then
it
it
worked
becomes
for me.
illegal.
It worked.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I love the fact that that steady progress, meaning always when I'm talking to people, because I do some mentoring, I always say, don't be stagnant. Where you're not moving at all. Make a decision. Do something. If you get knocked back, at least you know you made a decision. And now you know, okay, that decision might not have been right for what I want to do, but you've learned. You gained that experience from that.
Yeah.
And now you know to go left.
Yeah. Nah, because I want to add this too, like, because there was a critical part of this pandemic for a lot of people where it was like, take the time to pause. Because we was just busy, running. So it was like a time to rest, recharge, clear your mind, not have no obligations.
Did you find it hard to do that? Because for me, it was like to slow down.
Yeah.
I went a little bit cuckoo for about maybe 2 months. I was just like, I'm not used to being still.
When they said 2 weeks, it was like, all right, I can, chill for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When we got into week 3, it was like, what's happening?
Then
we got into a month, and then it became 2 months. It's like,
I was just going to the grocery store.
damn, I gotta build a website.
Man, we was outside during the pandemic. I ain't even gonna lie, literally, like.
Nah, fact.
Well, yeah,
we
I still.
I was in parks. We was working out at the park.
Yeah.
We was going on hikes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not a person that can just sit in the house.
I'm with you.
Even if I'm gonna be still, I gotta be in movement, doing something somewhere else. If I'm not working on business or nothing like that, what was funny, we'd be on hikes, and he told you he was on the options, day traded. So I'm like, why this nigga like 10 feet behind me, and he checking his options and shit like that. I'm like, all right,
That's for you.
He's like, look, I'm still
making some money.
Because them windows again, you might want to catch blue. Oh, I just sold. Let's go.
You gotta
but see, I wasn't in it. I ain't know. And then I was like, all right. I mean, but I ain't question it because like I know he know what he doing.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I was like, we still in forward movement, even if his head down. I'm up. So if I see something, I'm on it. You know what I mean? And vice versa. You feel me? So but I was laughing to myself about it.
Yeah, I did a lot of hiking too on Arts Land. I would go out there and just walk around, and I had to
you had to get outside.
Yeah,
like I was saying earlier, I was going to the track, I was going to the park. Yeah. And I will say the one thing, because I know a couple of times, because we would have our meetings at the park and we'll walk. Yep. It was a beautiful thing to see people out.
It was a lot of people out walking,
and I was like, at this stage,
reconnecting.
It was up and down for me, right? Because I loved seeing people out, but then like when I wanted to go do my pull-ups on the bars and all that, I'm like, yo, everybody at the park. And I'm like, all right,
be here.
My bad. I know this for kids. Let me reel myself back in. I was using it for working out. My bad.
Right. That part.
Yeah. But it was cool though. I'm like, dang, this is what it take. Do you know what I mean to get people to actually like think about their health? Like now people are like worried about their health, and maybe I need to lose 40 pounds. You always needed to lose it. But like, all right, here we
God
are.
working mysterious ways.
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
And going forward, I know y'all have things planned, and I want to know
Yes.
about what the plans are for S.O.U.L Society. And I know you're a musician. Tell me about that.
Man, it's a lot. So, a musician, a gallery curator.
Okay.
You know, that was.
I wasn't expecting that to come out your mouth.
I feel like the first time you did that was for Black History Month.
Nah, that was the first time I got to do it big.
Ah,
You know, so with our organization, S.O.U.L Society, we focused on community empowerment through arts and education.
Okay.
You know, so the arts was huge. So when we did the Peace Festival, I was like, all right, I want to create this art gallery. So when I was living in Delaware, I was dating an artist, and she was a phenomenal poet, phenomenal painter. And like, I would listen to her complain about her job all the time, but I would also know that she got a $500, $800 commission piece that she wasn't devoting the time to. Also knew that she was devoting 8 hours to Amazon, so it was draining. But like me, I'm a person that'll quit the job without a 2-week notice. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they ain't gonna give me 2 weeks if they want to fire me. So whatever. You feel me? So I've done that way too many times, and people be like, "You shouldn't be proud of that." I'm like, whatever.
Cheers.
You know what I'm saying? That is definitely one to put
I
out.
felt you on that.
So I would tell her, I'm like, quit your job. I'm like, quit your
that
job.
corporation looks out
Y'all
for
quit
them.
y'all job.
So why aren't you looking out for? So I'm happy you said, but go ahead.
No, I would ask her, I'm
in a
like,
heartbeat.
I was like, yo, how much your rent?
It's not working out.
I'm like, how much your rent? She was like, I guess I'll pour some of that.
Some of that. I'll get some of that right there. I started getting jobs.
You may not get a 2 weeks notice out of us.
Before.
Yeah.
But nah, so I asked her, I was like, yeah, cheers to quitting jobs.
Yes.
I asked her, I'm like, how much your rent? And she was like, it's $1,300. I'm like, you got a piece there that's $800 that need to be done, a piece there that's $800 that need to be done. You'll have $300 left over if you just complete these pieces. But she was like, I'm tired. I'm like, finish them.
Yeah.
You know, but like as I was seeing this and I was experiencing poetry and art shows in like Philly and DC while I was living in Delaware. I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I was like, back home, they don't got this. I ain't know I was about to move back home in a year. But when I moved back home, I'm like, all right, is there a way to create this here? I ain't know how still, you know what I mean? But when we did the Peace Festival, I went and got 3 pieces of plywood from Lowe's and built a little art section that had art there. You know what I mean? And hung up one of our friends, Keisha Keys. She had a lot of dope art that was just stacked up that she wasn't doing anything with. So I'm like, come hang it at the gallery. And we had somebody that won a piece that we were going to give away. So whole time I'm thinking like, all right, I don't know where we're going to do this gallery. I ain't asked my mom. I had moved back to my mom's house, but what I did was I just started cleaning out the garage. I'm like, all right, she need the garage cleaned out, but if I just go ahead and do it, I can do an art show here. So I just went ahead and did it. My homegirl Amber came through and helped me clean it out. I got the garage right. We had the Peace Festival, had this piece of art that somebody won. And as we were taking it to them at this hair salon, it was right beside a tattoo shop. So dude stopped us and was like, you remember his name?
Nah.
He stopped us and was like, what are y'all doing at? That was the name of the tattoo shop. He was like, what are y'all doing with that? I'm like, somebody won it. He was like, yo, I don't remember what he asked, but I'm like, I'll be right back. I'm going to give it to this lady. So went into his tattoo shop and told him my idea of wanting to have an art gallery and do these art events. Mind you, I've never done that before. You know, like had an art gallery or any of that. You know what I mean? But I just pitched him my idea. He was like, well, we a new tattoo shop. We would like some people to come through here, do it here. So like my thing was I didn't never stagnate my energy. I was cleaning up my mom's garage to do it there. Somebody offered me a spot also by me opening my mouth and letting them know what it is that we wanted to do. So there we had our first art gallery. I had named the album that because when I was at Winston-Salem State, I had a professor who introduced me to Jacob Lawrence. I was like, all right, cool. But I started studying him and I started incorporating some of his theories into how I wrote music. So that became my favorite artist. It wasn't a Picasso or nobody else. No disrespect to them. It was Jacob Lawrence though. You know, so fast forward, we did the art gallery. We did it 2 times at the tattoo shop. That joint was packed. We had to move to a bigger venue. So we started doing at this bigger spot that transitioned into us doing the S.O.U.L sessions with the Mentor Life. Fast forward, we moved to Greensboro. We did maybe one at the Artist Block, but then we did one in DC. And then we had a brother that was living in Portland. So we were like, well, we going to visit him out there. Let me just pitch this idea to a library. I pitched it. They called me back in 48 hours. Damn. We're talking money too. So I was like, all right, bet, we gonna do it. So just the execution of that let me know these things can really happen. Pandemic happens, cool. I'm always visiting the CVA. So I met Devin. And, you know, she, gave me the space to do a couple events there. But Black History Month was coming up. And the year before that, they had a Black History exhibit. And it was a dope exhibit. I'm just like, you probably need somebody Black doing it. You know, and then it'll have a whole different vibe and experience. So I text her, you know, sometime in like December and was like, man, I know somebody that's got this dope idea for an exhibit for February. And she was like, yo, who? Please let me know. I was like, me. So I went in there with my idea. They allowed me to use the space for 2 months. And that was the biggest exhibit that I had done. But when we was doing the art gallery, it was always 1 day events. We put the art up, we take it down. This was the first time I was able to keep it up for 2 months and create events around it. Poetry shows. I was doing tours, virtual tours, all type of stuff. So from there, it just like, now I'm in another gallery in High Point, which September 17th, if y'all available, the Art Gallery is happening there. First one since the pandemic. But it was constant motion. So a lot of people saw that as the first one, but it was like, nah, it was like 3-4 years of doing it in much smaller spaces, making no money, you know, and, you know, finding different places. When we did it in DC, that was crazy. That was the craziest one. And that also let me know we can do this on a much larger scale because people came and spent money. The music was dope, but that's also a place where Black people getting money. And you got young people in these government jobs that's getting like guaranteed money. So they'll come and spend money, you know what I mean, with the artists and with the vendors and with everybody. And it was such a vibe that we were like, what else can we do with this? Like, this is really like its own thing. It was taking a life of its own. And I just started having fun with it. At first, it was just poets and artists, visual artists. Then I was like, I just started adding like different games to it and asking people questions. Then I started adding authors.
That's what I was going to ask.
Storytellers.
The storytelling I love.
Because I wanted to see something different. I was like, all right, this is cool. But I'm a person that like, I kind of get bored easily. So like, I kind of got to give myself challenges just to keep myself active.
Because even the event you did in Winston, it was like that. Like the crowd was into it as well. And I did want to say real quick, everything you're saying is to me. So I'm one who loves quotes. There's a quote by Abraham Lincoln where he says, "I will prepare, and one day my chance will come." And the way I always look at that is. All those things that you was doing, it was like in preparation. And then when all these opportunities came, you were already prepared.
Ready to go.
And you were just able to step right into it. And it's like, and I think sometimes people don't realize, like when you're learning this, and then when you're doing this job, or you're picking this thing up, you don't realize something down the line is waiting on you. And then when you get there, you just boom, and you like, shit.
You just gotta be ready.
Just gotta be ready.
Just gotta be ready. GLC said on Section 80, proper preparation prevents poor performance. You know, the 5 P's. You know, but he said it real pimpish. You feel me?
Preparation
prevents poor performance. You know, and so I always encourage people to stay ready. Like, you might not be like at 100%, but like, if you constantly prepare yourself, if we would have looked at when we had to stop doing the art gallery back home and, you know, bringing it to elsewhere and being like, I don't know if it'll work. We would have never tried DC. We would have never shot our shot at Portland. I would have never sent Devin that text and being like, I know somebody that can do it. And then taking that opportunity and being like, where else can I do it? Now I'm in a spot in High Point where we're doing it, where I got much more access and opportunity. So I'm like, nah, just shoot your shots. If nothing else, shoot the shot.
I might get
this
man some grant money.
I'm saying.
Facts.
Coming soon.
Facts. Because because one of my biggest things, even as an artist, is I like to pay artists. So
Absolutely.
come out of my own pocket to pay artists.
Look at that. Yeah.
Sometimes, and I'm like, if I get these grants, I can do that more comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'll tell an artist, this is what I got for you. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm gonna pay you. I don't know what yet, but I'm gonna pay you.
Yeah.
You know, and like I always try to make sure it's a respectable number because like I'm gonna hit somebody with my fee when it's time.
Exactly.
And I have. You know,
Well, I commend you for coming out your own pocket.
You know, you probably talk more, but linking up with like the artist block.
That Darlene and
because she's on it.
They got live alkaline water in the artist block.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do. Yeah.
She's always on those grants.
The grants, she is. And we thank Darlene because if it wasn't for Darlene, I wouldn't have got the grants that I got through the pandemic because I lived off of the grants and the PPP. And Darlene made sure I was able to get those.
That's love. You feel
Darlene and Fatima Miller, she's a business consultant, and she put my paperwork where it needed to be in order to get the PPP. And I give y'all the information, but for Fatima Miller, she's going to charge, and she should, because she gives me the advice she gives me to move around is awesome. And then this man gave me the business template, and all that came together right before the pandemic, and so it was all aligned for me to just be able to sit and rest like I needed to do. I didn't know I needed to sit and rest and think and get some clarity, but that's exactly what I needed, and it made me who I am. But because we got to wrap it up. At the end of our show, we like to do an I am segment.
Okay. Before we get to I am, real quick, if you all, because they do, S.O.U.L Society here, we got T. Walker, we got King. They have to leave, but they have a reason why they have to leave. So let's tell everybody why.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we are heading to Wilmington, Delaware. Dr. Umar has his FDMG festival that is happening September 10th, which is tomorrow, Saturday. And we will be out there vending. He been drinking live alkaline water. He went last year by himself and, took on everything dolo, so, it was a last minute decision because I almost wasn't about to go because I was like, dag, we've been rescheduling this for like 3 months and I didn't want to have to reschedule it again. But I was like, all right, maybe we can leave after. And then,
appreciate it.
Much love to you. You feel me?
Yeah.
But we going up there, to be a part of that, beautiful experience, amongst beautiful people, and that's also the city I was born in, so I love returning, and showing love there as well.
Yeah, I like that.
So now for the I am?
Yes, now for the I am.
Okay, so the I am segment, you just describe what you are in this moment, but you just lead in with I am. And so I will
kick it off.
I'll kick it off. Yeah. Okay. So I am loving, living, and giving.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. So we'll let our guests go last. I would say, I am here now. So I'm in the moment. I'm being present.
I like that. I like it.
That's a good one. I am grateful, abundant, and creative.
Okay.
I am a nation builder, world changer.
I like that. Yeah.
Simple as that. I had to think of something without making it too long. Okay.
It could have been long. We had someone do a whole mentor.
I thought we was doing like words. That's why I was like, all right, let me pick the words that I would put in a paragraph.
You could have went on and on.
When we did it with him,
he did a whole story.
He did a whole poem.
He's a wordsmith as well.
You almost did because I forgot this part, but I am a farmer now,
You're a farmer?
So I'm learning how to farm,
You part of that, what is it?
I did want to make sure I threw that in there.
1% of black farmers.
Yeah.
So you part of that.
I'm learning how to farm. Yeah. Now I'm a student. I'm in my master's student bag, but I am like going from connected with the farmers to becoming one, So
we also
I gotta connect y'all.
We had to connect you. So we had a black farmer on the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they've been in
Courtney,
it for
generations.
Yeah, centuries.
Yeah,
so
I'm here to connect.
Definitely got a connection.
Yeah. I really believe in farming. I went to the Black Farmers Convention in 2018 in Raleigh.
Didn't know that was a thing, but okay.
It's a wonderful thing because it's funded by grant money. So literally for the whole weekend, we paid $25 staying at the Marriott, and it was seminars after seminars after seminars. You're meeting all these other black farmers that's coming across from America, all of America coming to this one convention. And just giving you the resources that you need, learn how to get your farm track number. If you have over half of acre of land, you can get the farm track number, which gives you the incentives that you being a black farmer. So, but you have to get that farm track number, which is for free. But you just can't go up to the agriculture building. You can't go up there and fill out the application like it's complicated because they kind of like, well, what type of farm you got? Like they make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. Right. So I literally, me and Earth Feather, because I told her about it because I didn't have the land that I was on because I wasn't the owner. So I couldn't do it. So you have to be the owner. So I went up there with her because she had a piece of land. And so I was just like on the phone with one of the representatives, and she was telling me what to say and things like that. Because at first they was not trying to, and this is free. And they was not trying to give us the farm track number.
Sound about right.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
but yeah,
even though it's free, they don't want to give it.
But needs to say
supposed to be free.
She has her farm track. She has her farm track number now.
Yeah.
So if you ever need any assistance in that area, definitely hit me up and I'll connect you with Courtney.
I sure will.
Yeah.
Look,
and if
we
you ever want to
be...
do hemp.
Yeah, we're gonna push up. So
pull up on you.
Yeah.
Can I ask y'all some questions?
Push that to you.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'll ask you this first, and I'm limited because I get to rambling with questions too. What's the greatest thing you've learned as a farmer?
I learned that the seed is a source of energy, and I've learned that it depends on the soil of which the seed is planted in, on what type of yield you're going to get. So it's very important to understand that we as humans, we are seeds as well. And it depends on the soil our environment that we grew up in, on how we act. Now, not saying that as it's going to put us in a box of how we act, but you might have to get different nutrition from other sources in order for you to be the best yield possible. So that's what I learned. So that's like
the starter plant being moved into this other garden where it can grow.
Because you can repot it. But understand, when you repot it, it's tragedy. It's tragic. So it's gonna the plant kind of
like go through a shock.
Through a shock. And
so everything essentially experiences trauma.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it grows through that if it
survives. And then
it's being supported
the way it needs to be. And then also in the dark. Being in the dark is very important for when you're growing your crops. So we have a timer on. I have a grow tent because I'm not doing it in in regular weather. So I have to have the timer where it could be dark for a certain amount of hours. If that is not implemented, it's not even going to grow correctly. So we do grow in the dark. As with when you're in your mother's womb, that's complete darkness to give you all the things that you need. So darkness is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's more have a negative connotation when you talk about somebody being in the dark. No, sometimes you need to be in the dark so you can kind of
so you can appreciate light.
And then when it comes, you flourish. You know, so that's what I learned with being a farmer. And I look at individuals totally different now. And I'm not afraid to love on people anymore. Because I used to feel like, I'm not going to give my love away and and they do this. No, that's not up to, that's whatever they do with it, they do with it.
To you.
Right.
It's just, we talk about appreciating people for who they are.
I appreciate you for who you are. Let me, whatever seeds I can just implement in your life to help you grow. And if it does work, it does. And if it don't, it don't. And that's how I treat my plants. Even with music around my plants, you know, giving it a different vibe, a different feel. I think that all of that energy, all of those frequencies assist the growth of a seed. So
something that I saw online one time, and it was recent. It was like, I said this to another lady and she kind of got offended at the end of me saying it, but we were able to joke about it. But it was like, find you a woman that got plants in her home. Because if she take care of her plants, it lets you know that she is a nurturer.
Right.
But if her plants are dead, that also lets you know something about her.
Yeah.
And when I was saying this to this lady who like grows stuff, I'm thinking I'm saying it to somebody that can relate.
Right.
Yeah.
And she could, but some of her plants was obviously dead.
That's all she heard was the ones dying.
She took it, that way. But I do agree with that, because it's sometimes you feel like you're a nurturer, but it's when you start doing plants, you come to find out, hey, I gotta buckle it down. I'm not giving this plant enough time. I'm not talking to it. I'm not, so it's there. It's you give it life. You give it life. Yeah.
For sure.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Good.
What did you see in her so a lot of times we have these gems and things that we can share with people, even now, like, I don't want to say I'm selective with, I am very selective with my energy now at this point, and I learned a hard lesson with that recently. But sometimes we don't always want to share things, and you gave her, a business plan template so that she could advance. What was it that you saw in her that, made you want to just be like, you know what, I got you?
Yeah, we actually had this conversation before. The conversation, I'm one who always listens to people's choice of words when they're talking. And I have a lot of respect for people who like process their thoughts instead of just throwing things out there. So we would have conversations about the business. And for one, she was open. She had an open mind to being critiqued on the business. She was okay with my recommendations and suggestions on maybe you should outline this a certain way. Maybe you should create a project plan for when you're doing this type of work. Maybe you should create what we call in project management is a RACI, where you determine people's roles. So who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, who needs to be informed. So every task is there's someone who is understanding where they fall within that task, instead of you sitting there and everyone's looking around like, why didn't this get done? And everyone's trying to point the finger, and when you point the finger, you got 3 more pointed back at you. So it's like being aware of that. So that I realized, I say, okay, we can go even further and say, okay, well, let's talk about doing this and this. And then I'm one too where I don't have any challenges with providing information and knowledge. What you do is what you do. Is the saying, you can lead a horse to the well, but you can't make him drink the water. But she took that and then she applied it. And then came back and was like, oh, this is what we got off of it. I was like, oh, you did it. I was like, okay, because everyone does it. You know, a lot of times, and it's okay. Like I talk to her all the time about being at peace and understanding everyone is who they are. I'm not here to live your life for you. And I'm not here to judge your life, because as I always say, it's no blueprint to any of this. We all doing everything based off our experience up to this day. Tomorrow, I'm someone different. So those are the things. But with that, I was like, okay. And then we started, because this was prior to us even talking about doing a show. It was just me doing consulting work with, at the time, you had 3 or 4.
Yeah, because I had the BL production, which we went to the David Banner's second one.
Oh, yeah. In Durham.
It's so funny. She had someone on her team who was a project manager. But it was just the different, because project management, it falls into so many different areas. So the variables is just way out there. So came in, and then I had a partner of mine who me and him were looking at creating our own consulting firm. And so we came in, it was just no charge and not just sitting down and going through everything and saying, hey, let's walk through this and let's help you all get more organized with what you need to do. Because the idea and concept was there. It was just the building of the pieces to really move it along where it needed to be.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the payout is in the development of the relationship, or even seeing that person flourish. One thing when people say, and I never thought about this until now, it was like when a finger is pointed at you, there's 3 more pointed back at you. What about this one?
That's
that one going up.
I don't know. It don't even need an answer. It was just something
I was thinking something.
I always look at it as those 3 pointing back at me is the way I take it is I have 3 times the impact on the situation.
Okay. I dig it.
So I need to really look at myself and say, okay, was it a decision I made? Was it the type of interaction I had? Was it the fact that I didn't follow up or did I take this day off? Like there's so many things within the process that I had full control of.
Yeah.
And I'm one who always says, no matter what the situation is, I make the final decision in everything that evolves around me. And if I allow Tiffany to influence my decision, I made the decision to accept her suggestion and her opinion and her thought. I can't be mad if the outcome isn't what I wanted because I didn't have to take that suggestion. I could have went with something else. We're all wise after the fact. In hindsight, we all like, shit, I should have done this instead. But after the fact, who doesn't know what to do after the fact? And I always tell people, like, don't get caught up in that. Understand the fact that you decided to make that decision, so accept it, own that, but learn, have an understanding of it. And there's another, with the quotes, there's one by Einstein. He says the power of genius is the force of will to make all the mistakes necessary to get the right answer. And I believe that, like, mistakes are part of the process. So if you're not willing to make a mistake, then you just need to stay at home. No, that's why I love what you all are doing. Yeah. You're out there, like when King is like, I went out to the farm. I didn't know what to expect, but I gave my time, I gave my energy, I gave my force and will, and and then that turnaround from that. And then he went back like, shit, 20 gallons in an hour. Let me come back. Can I get now? And that's just, you keep building on it and building on it and building on it. And I tell people, stop looking at, because people look at you all and they're saying where you currently are. Right. They don't understand all of the ups and downs that took you to get to this point. People always look at where they see you at currently and just think that you just magically just stepped into it. And I tell you,
if you want this, you gotta take everything that come with it. Yes. You gotta take the friend that got killed. You know what I'm saying? To start this, you gotta take that with it. You gotta take the sleeping on the couches with it. You got to take the sacrifices with it. You got to take everything with it. But if you fear failing, you're going to fail forever.
Yeah. I embrace failing. I embrace making mistakes. I will fail at something real happy. Because I tried it. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning from it. I never was the type of person. That's how I grew up. I never thought it was failure. I'm just trying something. And if it worked, it worked. And then if it doesn't, it doesn't. It never affected me on that level.
Work until
you try.
Yeah, until I try. Now I am afraid of not trying. I am so afraid of not trying. If I have an idea, I'm going to try it. And this is where I get spread thin at. Because it was like, if it comes up in me, I'm like, okay, I want to see what it do. I want to see what it do. But I'm learning how to manage my time and energy because I'm raising 2 boys and I don't have a lot of time and energy that I can put into, building and creating. But at the same time, it's a balance that you have to create for yourself, whatever situation that you're in. For sure. But at this point in my life, I'm loving the balance that I've created, but it's happened over time to learn who I am. Right.
And I'll just say, because I know you all get out here, but I would say change is not an overnight process. Who you are right now didn't happen overnight. So if you're looking to change anything, you got to put in that work and be committed to it through all the ups and downs. But I do want to say too, I just noticed you had a whole gallon of the live water.
They be drinking like that. All the time I see them, they be walking with live water.
5 gallons
in the car. I just bought it for promotional purposes.
Glass, all that.
I love it.
For sure.
Yeah, and then also know that you never box yourself into this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? Because with like the seed, like whatever is in that environment, it changes, it evolves. So I don't. When people say, "So who are you?" or da da da, I'm like, I'm always evolving. Like
I take a deep breath because I'm like, you really want that?
Yeah, like I had so many lives, and I continue to add into that, Yeah. So it's a lot, but I love what you guys are doing. Keep doing it.
Keep it up.
I'm so happy y'all are here. I cannot wait till I get another farmhouse so I can invite y'all.
Let's get it at you.
Yeah, because
and before the show ends, can you all just give out your information, everything like your social media and all of that?
And if you want to do a little rhyme or anything you want to do, to the camera.
T Walker NC on everything from Snapchat, the Cash App, and everything in between. I like for all, even I don't use some of it, but the Cash App is most important.
There you go.
And our website is heavyenergyuniversity.com. That's where you can find the clothes, where you can find the music, where you can find the water, we do subscriptions for the water, you know, so it'll land right at your door. You don't got to come to us. We'll come to you.
Nice. Nice.
Well, I'm brother born king, servant of the people. You know, I don't do a lot of the personal and the social media, but if you want to tap in on the business, we got Live Alkaline NC. We got S.O.U.L Society NC on all platforms, you know, all social media. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Oh, you know, we might have to do a follow-up episode on that, you know, failure concept, because I ain't even I stayed quiet on that because there's stories to tell, and you know, but
we definitely have to have a storytelling session.
Yeah. Because
it's got to be the length of a Drink Champs type joint.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, being that we got a lot of this out the way today, you know, the next episode could be around the same time.
Yeah, because y'all are on the time limit, and so you know, because if it wasn't, you know, that y'all had to leave, we could have.
I mean, we didn't want to make it 3 hours at one time anyway. We can pull back up.
Okay.
New day. You feel me?
A lot of failures that come with the music business.
So we didn't tap on the music,
which is why a lot of people, understandably, quit. I just can't, because it was my second love after basketball. Okay, you know, basketball player. That's a whole nother.
All right.
Yeah, and I went through some different. Maybe this might be the promo for the next episode. You know, I went through some failures, got arrested a couple times real early, and went through a depression, and all of those things is what led to where we at now, because I had to overcome all that, and I had to realize, like, dang, you can't overcome that. So I am that testimony, and I'm at a point now where I'm like, I'm afraid of not getting that answer, you know. So rather than being afraid to fail, I'm afraid to not shoot the shot and not know. So when it come to business, when it come to hollering at a girl, like, or it might be a celebrity or somebody, you know, you don't want to be the one that's all extra on their heels, but then when they out of sight again, I'm like,
damn, I should have said something.
I should have pressed them real quick.
Yeah.
Because the worst that could have happened is I would be right where I'm at. Look at them.
Right.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm looking extra dumb because I don't know if they would have rocked with it or not.
And the percentage of them shots is way greater than the misses.
Right.
Yeah. Swishes be happening.
Fact, if nothing else, I'm gonna see you again and I'm gonna press you again. And you're gonna be like, damn, you was the one with the water. You feel me? So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
You know, you was about to
because we gonna be here till 9.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up.
We got to get signatures.
Yeah, we're gonna get signatures right after we end it. Thank you again, everyone.
Come to the next episode for them rhymes.
Rhymes and Rhymes Speaks, and we will have them back. If you want to hear more of them, you can email us at broadbeltspeaks03@gmail.com. Our social media outlets is Broadbelt Speaks, and he's already said that, and I'm just reiterating
we wrapped it up.
And we're wrapping up. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's get y'all to sign.
Cool.